When it comes to parenting, there are certain experiences that transcend generational borders, socioeconomic situations, and every other characteristic that may otherwise differentiate the experience of one family from that of another family. The moment someone describes an experience in public, the common response is less laughing than recognition. It is the specific, relieved recognition of individuals who have been there and are truly delighted to hear someone else say it out loud. Experiences are so essentially and unavoidably universal that the moment someone describes them, the communal response is less laughter than recognition. One example of such an event is the adult child's room that is disorganized. It's disorganized. On this week's episode of Live with Kelly and Mark, Kelly, Ripa and Mark Consuelos gave a masterclass in that particular identification. They called out their daughter Lola Consuelos, who is 24 years old, for what they described as a wild room. They did so with the characteristic directness that comes from being a parent. The revelation, which was presented with the humor and the warmth that characterizes their most really relatable moments, elicited an immediate and enthusiastic response from an audience that did not require any other confirmation that they were in familiar ground. Due to the fact that it was exceedingly immediately and almost painfully familiar territory for anyone who has ever been the parent of a young adult human being who still occasionally occupied or visited the family home, it was a situation that was extremely familiar. The way that it occurred not as a planned segment or a set topic, but rather as the natural overflow of two individuals who have always considered their morning show as an extension of their genuine lives rather than a presentation of them, the moment arrived in the organic, unscripted way that generates the finest daytime television. This is the way that the best daytime television is produced. Kelly and Mark were in the midst of a conversation that had already covered other domestic topics when the topic of Lola's room came up. This particular, slightly exasperated parental energy tends to accompany any mention of a space that has been ceded to a young person and has evolved in directions that the people responsible for the larger household have decided to stop trying to control. Lola's room was the subject of the conversation. Mark's contribution was the characterization of the word wild, which he delivered with the specific tone of a guy who has seen things and has chosen, with enormous wisdom, to define them in the widest possible terms rather than attempting to make a complete inventory of them. Kelly provided the audience with the additional information that she believed was necessary for them to have a complete understanding of the comprehensive range of topics that the term encompassed. The audience in the studio, which has spent sufficient time with this couple to identify genuine home candor when it occurs, replied with the laughter of people who are hearing something real rather than something that is being performed. The room that they were describing was really a real one. It is a genuine level of pandemonium. In their description, they were portraying a genuine parental experience in which they walked past a door and made the intentional decision to not open it in order to protect themselves. This is the context of Lola Consuelos. Lola is a presence who has primarily existed in the adoring and slightly comical portrayal that her parents have created of her over numerous on-air talks. This is the case for viewers who have followed the Consuelos Ripa family throughout the years of Live. She is pursuing a career in music with the specific seriousness and independence of someone who has chosen the most difficult possible path in the most competitive possible industry and is committed to building something real on her own terms. She is, by every available account, a truly remarkable young woman. She is pursuing a career in music. The combination of her mother's straightforwardness and her father's warmth has resulted in a personality that is, according to all accounts, both significantly engaging and, in particular household circumstances, completely reluctant to prioritize tidiness. She possesses both of these characteristics, the particular, unbothered candor of someone who has pondered the topic and arrived at a decided conclusion has been displayed by Lola, when she has spoken about her own relationship with her living place on occasions when she has been a part of the discourse. Organization, in Lola's view, seems to be a member of a category of priorities that is completely effective on its own terms and does not respond very well to input from outside sources regarding where it ought to rank. Her parents, on the other hand, have reached the particular parental balance of individuals who have come to terms with a reality that they are unable to alter and have taken the decision to find the humor in it. This is, in the long run, the approach that is the most sustainable, that is imaginable. More, the parenting experience that is shared by all the total and unfettered relatability of Kelly and Mark's Lola Room confession was the factor that resulted in such an immediate and prolonged response from the audience. When compared to the messy room of a younger child, the messy room of an adult child is a specific and universal phenomenon. It is a phenomenon that generates a certain type of parental experience that is distinct from the bedroom of a younger child in significant ways. It is the parent's responsibility to maintain both the authority and the logistical capacity to directly address the situation when the room of a 10-year-old child is disorganized. Cleanup may be necessary for them. They are able to put organizational practices into effect. In the most assertive form of the situation, they have the ability to clean the room on their own. When a room belonging to a 24-year-old is disorganized, the relationship becomes significantly more challenging overall. The young person is an adult with the prerogatives and perspectives of an adult, which are fully acceptable, such as the fact that their room is their space and how it is maintained is their business. The parent is still experiencing feelings regarding the topic. They are still experiencing the unique, automatic parental response of passing by a door and being aware of what is on the other side of it. Nevertheless, the variety of proper responses that are accessible to them has significantly decreased. What is left is essentially what Kelly and Mark have demonstrated: the ability to find the humor in it, to share the experience with an audience that will recognize it, and to communicate affection for the person responsible for the chaos, while at the same time calling them out for it in a way that is gentle, public, and completely loving. The particularly funny aspects of the circumstances, besides the obvious relatability of the parenting experience that it describes, one of the things that makes this story so brilliantly amusing is the precise contrast that it draws between the public image of the Consuelos Ripa household and the candid private reality that they live in. The gorgeous home, the successful careers, and the polished morning television style that has been a part of their public identity for decades are all aspects that contribute to the popular imagination's perception of Kelly and Mark as occupying a position that is linked with a particular level of regulated elegance. People who have their life together in the ways that are significant are, by any external measure, people who are successful. However, Lola's room is a chaotic place. This gap between the public image and private reality, between the neatly maintained display of a successful existence and the peculiar, wonderful chaos that a 24-year-old with her own aesthetic priorities may make in a corner of even the most beautiful household, is where comedy lives. Comedy is a subgenre of comedy. It is the unique comedy of real life breaking through the surface of public character. The reminder that regardless of how polished the external presentation may be, there is always a Lola's room somewhere along the way. In the eyes of their audience, which has been following them for a sufficient amount of time to be aware that the disparity between their public image and their private reality is one of the most charming aspects that they possess. The narrative serves as proof of something that they had previously assumed. The household that Consuelos Ripa resides in is a genuine one. Wild rooms are a feature of real houses. Assuming Lola's reaction to it, considering everything that is known about Lola Consuelos, including her personality, her relationship with her parents, and her general approach to being the subject of their on-air chats, it is not difficult to foresee how she will react when she is called out publicly for the condition of her room. At the same time, it will almost definitely be marked by the same sort of unbothered, affectionate self-possession that defines her public presence in general. According to the evidence that is currently available, Lola is not the type of person who is easily shaken awake by parental commentary, even when it is presented to an audience that is watching a national morning television program. In this family, she has spent her entire life. It is clear to her what the format is. She is conscious of the fact that her parents' openness regarding their family life is not only sincere but also intended with affection. Therefore, it is reasonable to presume that she does not intend to tidy her room as a result of this information. Gerd, the sense of a family that knows each other well enough to discover the humor in each other's attributes without anyone feeling legitimately criticized or actually diminished by it, is the specific feature that makes the situation amusing rather than uncomfortable. This is the quality that makes the situation hilarious rather than fraught. The Consuelos Ripa family is known to make fun of one another. It is just one of the numerous ways in which they show how much they love and care for one another. In the context of this discussion, Lola's wild room is not an issue that needs to be solved. It is a tale that needs to be read. The reasons why this moment is important. The Lola Room moment is a small and charming addition to a catalog of genuine human disclosure that has always been the foundation of their audience's devotion. In the larger context of Kelly and Mark's long history of domestic candor, which includes the conversations about menopause, the reflections on marriage, and the candid discussions of what it actually looks like to be in a long-term partnership in practice. The Lola Room moment is a small and charming addition. They do not appear to be functioning as a family. Both of them are sharing one, containing all of its wildness, all of its warmth, and all of its unique, irreplaceable, and occasionally crazy humanity. This is a wild room for Lola. Her mother and father find it to be humorous. The audience is united in their agreement. It is the Consuelos Ripa family performing their duties in the manner that was advertised.